What is this? Is this architecture? Is this design? Is this a piece of art? I don't care. It's all of that together. But whatever you do, whatever you consider as art, you could Tintoretto or Canova or any other was not doing detail like this. He was very deeply into detail. Okay? And this is the same thing. So you need a good company. This time I will say the company, Glass Italia. They are mastered for glass, furniture and mirrors. So, but the good things about Milano, why Milano is so successful? Because in any architectural or design office, out of 20 people working there, only probably 5 people will be Italian, the rest 15 will be from all over the world. So there's a nice multicultural mixing, and there's a very nice, how can I say, contamination. So now we go back to my idea of Made with Italy, which I call international design business. I have like an approach, which is a strategy. So first one, you have to understand which product you can do or you cannot do. This is a technical, this is a style problem, this is a number of things together. But you need to understand what you can do in terms of capability. Second one, identify for a market, where do you want to go? Do you want to go to America? Everybody wants to go to America, but can you go there? I don't think so. So, let's go to Kazakhstan. Kazakhstan, you can do wonderful business. You don't need to go to America. But if you go to Kazakhstan, you need to be able to go there, and you need to be able to explain your product and to do also the proper communication and marketing. Because product without communication and marketing is basically, I would say, a boring exercise. So, this is like a thing. So, understanding the product, identifying foreign markets, and then obviously research trends. We need to be as humble as possible to learn from the others, you know, to learn how they do things, you know. Well, you certainly know the story of diesel jeans, right? Diesel jeans, in America they don't know he's Italian, you know, lucky. But Renzo Rosso is coming from a very humble family, and it's from the province of Vicenza, where I come from. So in the 70s, there was a bunch of guys that decided to do the Italian jeans. It was a very interesting story. So they began inventing new things. And the most successful one was Renzo Rosso. But the idea to go to America selling blue jeans, well, that's pretty adventurous, eh? He made it, okay? Because he made his way. But he found a way to communicate that and to market that. He made a wonderful example of Made with Italy, actually. So I want to understand the trends, and then I have to adapt my product to the trends. So I need to translate this expectation into product. And then after that, I need to generate a concept, okay? A marketing concept where the communication, marketing, and all of that are together. And then I have to get this package and try to take it to Kazakhstan, California, or wherever I want to go. And then we go to the very delicate part, the presentation. This presentation can have different forms. It used to be only physical, through showrooms, stands in trade fair and exhibit system, basically. These were the three elements. But then, until the digital arrived, so the website and all that. So, and that changed completely, but it happened that the things are still quite separated. And that's why I am trying this everyday hard exercise to put things together. Product, physical presentation, and digital presentation, they need to compenetrate to each other, generate a nice, beautiful, harmonic common ground in order to do beautiful business. It's very interesting to understand this. The product cannot be the starting point anymore. It has to be highly strategic. In other words, the product has to be the result of an investigation of the marketing. So you need to understand what you can do, your capability, and you need to understand how to present and communicate. So the product will come as a result, coming from the bottom, from physical presentation and digital presentation. And I think that's all.
Wow.
Thank you very much.
I have an immediate question for you now that I'm
Let me finish this part, yeah? Okay. Even if it's good, but...
No, it was a very exciting presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
What would you say? The French are also good designers in terms of products, and they also have a mark, so do the Spaniards. But what would differentiate the arts of the Italian? Because this is a question I'm asked quite a lot. Jale, why is design? My clients tell me this. Jale, you want to buy the furniture. Why is everything designed in Italy? Why do the Italians have such a strong imprint? When I look at other cultures, like the French or the Spaniards, or so much for the British, they also have a very interesting style. But the Italians always come forward. Obviously, there is a strong sense of awareness. But what would you say that really makes a difference amongst other countries when you say design?
There's a number of reasons, you know. I think Italians, they have the capability to interact with the others. Italian passport is the best in the world, as well now. Honestly, I mean, I go to America. They say, well, I like your shoes, they say. It's American, you are waiting for the bus. I say, hey man, I like your shoes. I say, thank you, I like your shoes too. Where are you from? I say, I'm from Italy. That's why I love Italian shoes. What's your name? And you got together. You have no idea how many friends I have in America starting like that. Okay. I'm not sure if you say I'm a Frenchman, they will invite you home.
No, it's true. So would you say communication
I love French, but I'm just saying...
Is there French here?
No, you know, that's what it is.
No. Coming from a French culture, I must say that French are more snobbish about probably their way.
I didn't say that.
No, I say that. I say that. But
that's not only because of the Italian capability to interact with the others, but because there's how can I explain? There's a historical consolidated capability of mixing art and business, and to be able to communicate that to the others.
Definitely. No, or would you also say that it's also about being very open-minded towards what's going on? I mean, I understood from your presentation that being open-minded, it's as simple as it sounds, was also a very important point in reaching out, because one would say that Italian design comes with a presence, but I see from your perspective that you are saying that actually it's a result of deep analysis about what's going on. I see that every year at Salone the design is very progressive. The details are changing. The marketing,
the presentation,
yes,
the graphic, the lighting,
definitely,
the investment.
There's a number of things together.
So it's the package that goes.
So lighting. Well, I was, you know, as an architect and designer for the industrial company, I started with booth design. Luckily, I was very lucky. Some of my friends, they were saying, "Oh, you do stand for fairs. It is not very important." I said, "I do what I can." You know? Now it's very complicated.
Yeah.
It's a science for fashion. You cannot make mistakes, because if you do the wrong booth, well, you'll compromise the next 2 years' business for that industry. But what about the workers over there? Are they going to stay there and buy presents for the kids or not? Remember I told you about being social. I think about those things. And I don't need to dress myself like, you know, a volunteer. I like to get money. But I like to get money and give back some useful services for the society. Maybe I changed the subject.
No,
Sorry.
definitely. It's about.
But only I need a volunteer now to get some coffee for me. Thank you.
It's so. How would you teach that passion? How would you, if we go to the academic side of things? Design, we saw from your presentation that it doesn't just appear. It's something that's being.
Well, that's very simple. Like I said, show you again this picture. Yes. You want to be a good designer? You want to be a good architect? You need to understand where you come from. You need to study where you come from. Are you coming from Istanbul? Okay. Are you coming from Gaziantep? Doesn't matter. You coming from Vicenza? No problem. But you need to know where you come from. You need to study your heritage. Because without any heritage, you're nobody. Everybody has got a story. I told you my story tonight. The next one will tell a different story. But I know my story. I know the story of my father, my grandfather. I like to read about Byzantium. I like to read about Geneva. I like to, you know, why am I so emotional every time I come out from the airport? You know, some other people we arrive in Istanbul say, what a mess. They don't respect pedestrian zebra crossing. I don't care about that. I see beauty all over. I see Mediterranean vibration. I see value. Certainly, this value could be more profitable. That's for sure. But that's why we are designers and architects, because we can do that. But how you do that? You go into the books. You do into geology. You go into the difference between this, and this. Is huge. And what's happening here? The Black Sea. What is the Black Sea? Russia, Georgia. Why so cold in winter? That influence a lot of things. That's my answer.
Thank you.
Please. Make easy questions.
No, awareness is very important. I think sometimes it's what we lose here in terms of design. We lose the awareness of our culture, as you said. And I, again, see in Italy also, in Europe, that people are very attached to their culture and they feed it, they care for it. It's probably something we oversee a little bit
look,
here.
This is exactly what you find in Soleimani Jami. So, you think Sinan would do anything like this? He would stay days and days in the same detail, because that was the only way he could do. He's there. You go to any old Orthodox church, look at the mosaics, look at the composition, the meaning, the representation, the identity. All of that I said tonight is there. but you need to go there and study and force yourself. Well, I'm lucky because I live in Vicenza, which is a small town with a lot of different episodes of amazing architecture. But I can assure you, I normally like to get up like 7:30. I do my breakfast and I like to take a walk into the historical center every single day. And I look to the same building every single day. Every single day I see something different.
Yes, I'm sure.
Every single day I go to Suleimani, to Hagia Sophia. I say, what stupid! I never thought about that. Because they're beautiful examples of how to do design, architecture, business, right? Because those religious buildings are there also for other reasons, right? Okay. Please, say something. Any question? Otherwise, I start making questions to you. You're going to get trouble.
That's a good idea.
I would like to ask something actually. We met like 2 days ago and I asked the same question. The Italian style, design, and concepts are very looking luxurious, unreachable to the main people.
Okay.
Yeah. And this is just the Italy's way of showing design, making something quality, making the details work for them. So, for the Turkish people or Turkish design, what would be the future to direct our attention to the details? Because, of course, we share a lot of common things in the history, and the Italian and the Turkish side, the culture has so many things common inside. So, what will be our future right now if we are giving too much details, too much attention to the details? What will be?
Well, like I said, Turkish companies, they need to start sooner or later, the sooner the better, they need to start working in the system. That's fundamental. Because to get into that detail by yourself, it's very complicated. You need to completely change your mind. It takes another generation, 25 years. Too much, you know? We don't have time for that. But otherwise, to start operating a system, that's very, it is possible, you know? Some people, they do that, some populations, they do that more easily. Some others, they don't. But, I mean, the examples of international companies in this country are several, you know, wonderful products, you know. I think that there's a need for, you know, operate stronger and stronger through federations, you know, and trying to install this concept within each company. It's not about how good I am into resolving this node, okay? But it's about getting my mind into the idea that resolving this problem is fundamental. Sinan, Mimar, same thing. He could have done different, he could have done cheap. Nobody was forcing him, but he had an ethic, he had an approach, and he said, I don't want to go there. There's no way I'm going to shout, I'm going to leave the construction, I'm going to fight with my client. But I want that detail be done the way I designed. There's no way. So this is one thing that makes a difference. But again, it's a general approach. Like I said, the Italians, okay, they have this natural attitude to interact with the others. But you cannot interact with the others telling lies all the time. You need to bring contents. So if you want to sell pizza in America, You might do the pizza the way they want, no problem. But you need to do that properly.
I also noticed that Italian companies, also architects, have a great tendency to collaborate on projects and also use Italian products, promote Italian products, and promote their own identity as Italians. Italian, not only through design, but every Italian architect I've met so far has always made a point of also promoting their other counterparts, working with them, or using Italian products throughout their design process. Also developing new products through design with other Italian companies. I mean, I was invited a couple of years ago to an event where people came and made us presentations about how they work as a team with the engineers, architects, also furniture makers. So that's also probably an interesting concept to look at.
Yeah, but I tell you
You
another...
don't seem convinced.
No, I'm with you, but time has changed. I'll tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was in Orlando when I go shopping normally because they have wonderful outlets with Italian brands.
So you shop in Orlando for Italian brands?
Absolutely.
Really?
I'm telling you, if you ever go to Orlando, go with empty bags. You'll be happy. You will understand why. Because you buy half-price Prada, basically, you know. And so I tried a nice Hugo Boss jacket. I said, I'd buy that. It was like $200. Wonderful. I put it on, go back to the hotel, I move it, and here, but Hugo Boss, everything, see, made in Turkey.
Yes, Hugo Boss is made in Turkey.
And I thought, they cheated me. But then I thought, but who cares? I don't care, actually. That's a good sign. Because that means Italians are intelligent enough to be able to reduce the amount of money of an Italian production, make the production in Turkey, which is a wonderful production, but probably with an Italian eye for the detail. So in this way, this button will not go out in 6 months or 4 months, but it will stay for 10 years. So it is possible.
Consistency.
This is made with Italy, by the way, this Hugo Boss thing.
Any more questions?
Come on, please. Don't be too intelligent.
So until people think about more questions, I should like to thank you very much in the name of Aura.
Oh.
And want to present you with our book, which is basically a collation of all the projects that have been done in Aura about Istanbul in the past 2 years. It's a very special book. It's our first baby, so I would love for it to be in your hands.
I take it as a good wish.
Oh yes, well it's all about Istanbul, and it's about what Istanbul could be, can be, and what can be improved through the eyes of young people and living in the city. So it's about ownership to your surroundings, and it's about solutions. So I think your speech also collaborated in a great way with what we want to do here. So we're looking forward to having you here over and over again. And I should like to present you with a small also memo of your evening here. Thank you very, very much.
Made me emotional now. Very nice.
Our book is also in English, so I would like to know what your feelings would be about it after a couple of more visits. Tell us what you think.
But let's say 4 visits because it's going to take a while to read it.
You have to study.
I have 100 books before that about Istanbul. No, but obviously I will go through and I will read some.
Yes. What we want to do here is also create an imprint of Istanbul, a different memory of Istanbul in the 21st century. So everybody who comes to Aura has to fulfill a project that they thought about, they designed about Istanbul, and they have their own ways of expressing it.
Okay.
So not only do we talk about this collaboration of design, but it's also about realizing where you live and how do you own up to it, how do you become part of it. So really it was very nice to have
yes, yes. But please, some question from the future of this country and future of architecture. Please, any questions,
Evet, Türkçe sorabilirsiniz. Aynen.
even personal questions.
Merak ettiğiniz herhangi bir şey yok mu?
Well,
We Turks are a bit shy about
I know, but
questions.
you know, it's nothing to be shy. The most interesting conference I gave was in Moscow a few years ago, and the participation was really amazing, and the number of questions they made was really very. I was extremely impressed. You know, the Russian crowd is highly surprising. It was a privilege for me to be there.
How often do you come to Turkey?
I come every month for a week. Yeah.
So you have current projects going on here?
It's coming. But I've been working here since 2011, and with my up, wonderful, and my horrible down, especially obviously last year when Turkish lira went drastically down. But you know, I love this country, and my approach is more than a hope. Is I trust, you know, because, and also I like to push myself into places where the other would not go, you know, and so then I go, I do things because I think there's an opportunity to learn a lot. I mean, the amount of things I learn in this city and this country is unbelievable, you know. But I travel very intensively since I was a young man, you know, through Anatolia, through the coast, through everything. What I'm interested to this country is not Canyon Mall, which is very boring to me. Not even an interesting building, honestly. Because I come from the Turkish village, you know. Turkish village architecture is amazing, very interesting. Is connecting with the ruins of different eras, you know, the way people used to, or still today, sit down. My best friends are still those people from the villages, which I'm still in contact. You know, I met them, their grandson, they were little kids, now they are father and mother, they're big people. But, you know, they don't speak English, I don't speak Turkish. But when we see each other, we understand because, you know, it's they come from a culture, and that's very interesting.
I think that's what we've lost a little bit. I think in general, also in terms of design, we haven't given enough importance to our identity, as you said. So we come from very mixed backgrounds that sort of merged into one wonderful country. But when we look at Turkey, I think in terms of design, I'm an interior designer, so as a designer I see that there is amazing potential, also amazing talent coming out, and great energy.
Endless potential.
And we Turks are very good at finding solutions to things, actually. But it's
that's for sure.
Yes,
I know that.
Yes, definitely.
When I got desperate building something, I said, no problem.
Exactly.
So, okay, if you say so.
But as you started with, I think the most important thing really is to find that identity. That's probably what's lacking. That we have to go back to the roots.
And explain to the others, explain to the foreign. So the Turkish company, they have this complex. Oh, I'm going there, they will know that I'm Turkish. What? The first big industry I work here, I was called by them because I used to be flooring group architect in exclusivity for almost 10 years. So they have seen my design for many years. So they called me, they went over and said, what can I do for you? I say, you need to do everything you did for this other group. I said, but I can't do that because that's an Italian industry, you're a Turkish industry. I don't see any connection. Okay, you are in the same sector, but what about your identity? What about this? What about that? So basically, I tried to represent them, and I did, as a Turkish company. It was a disaster because that was exactly the way for me to not being welcome into that company, because they felt I put them into a place they didn't want to be. They wanted to be international. They wanted to be. I said, but I am making you international. But you know, I cannot change my Italian face and be like Brad Pitt just because I want to go to America. I need to be myself and be a good Italian. Same thing here, but again, it was not a good idea. But you know, I'm very proud of what I did, and I think I did well. And still today, some people, they stop me after years. They say, "Molini, now I understand. I think you did well. We should have with that approach more and more." It's not my company. I pay other bills. Oh, fantastico.
Aslında bir Türkçe sorsam, belki sunum tekniği açısından olabilir bilmiyorum ama ya belki hani o kadar şey arasında buna mı takıldın da diyebilirsin ama Abraham Lincoln'un ve diğer 3 devlet adamının olduğu bir görsel vardı. En çok ilgimi çeken oldu aslında ama onunla ilişkisini o sırada tam kuramadım belki.
Thomas Jefferson onlardan bir tanesiydi. En sondaki Thomas Jefferson'dı. Onlar kurucu Amerika'nın babaları olarak sayılıyordu.
Amerika yapanlar.
Evet, aynen öyle.
Ama bu diğer görsellerle olan ilişkisini...
Olsun'un en başında bir 5 penny var ya, 5 cent vardı. O 5 cent bütün Amerikalıların cebinde olan ve İtalya'nın sembolü, işte Monticello binasının temsili, yani bir kimlik, İtalyan kimliği her Amerikalı'nın cebinde var. Onunla alakalı. I answered for yourself. I'm a representative, right?
She had a question.
She asked
About
this.
the presentation,
Yeah.
she didn't understand some place of the
Ah,
presentation.
okay.
And Boris already answered.
So no question. It was hoping.
It was about the 5 cent and the Jefferson. What is the relationship between the mountain image and this?
Ah, yeah. Okay.
Explain.
So that's. You please explain her that sometimes branding and big branding. Well, there's no, I don't know, any bigger branding than United States of America. There's no other branding. The American flag put everybody together, like it or not. But I'm saying it's interesting that this little coin represents the identity of America. And the identity of America comes from a little town in the middle of a colony in Veneto. It used to be a colony of Venezia. Hidden place. Interessante, no? So you can do a great story even if you live in the boundaries of the thing, not necessarily in the center.
But I think so. This is an interesting presentation.
Please.
This is interesting presentation. This visual, I think so. This visual is so interesting. So I want to ask it.
Ask me? Yes.
Yeah.
That's why you made these questions. Okay, very good.
It is not an architectural presentation. It's about everything, the concepts inside the architecture and design and the features. That's why it's looking so interesting to us.
Okay, this is not an architectural presentation like you've seen before. This is very much an architectural presentation because it tried to go to the roots and the essence of the problem.
There is one thing that you say that even the book, the magazine,
Yes.
Are interesting also the architectural point of
Totally.
I think that was one of the interesting point in that presentation because when we think about the clothes or the when when you think about the fashion and clothes, we are not thinking about the architecture or the architects
Well,
or the design.
I'm not necessarily talking about the fashion, but I was talking about photography. Photography.
But I think the when we imagine that woman with the in different place without the architectural concept, I think it is not have a same perception as we see from photography. So I think, as you say, all of them are one. The design, fashion, and the architecture is.
Okay, I'll make a very simple question or to everybody. Where do you think this composition comes from? Where do you think this composition of this photograph come from?
So you mean why they choose the?
No. The question is very precise. Where do you think the composition of this image, composition, so the photographer says, you stay here, you put this chair here, I select this chair, I want this building behind, the composition.
Yeah.
Where does it come from?
The mind of designer.
Pardon?
The mind of designer. The mind of the designer.
Well, that's for sure. So there's a stylist, there's a photographer, there's a light designer, there's a number of people operating this image. Am I right? But all of them, they have studied the Renaissance painting art from the middle of 14th or 15th century until the middle of 17th century. So basically from Donatello, sculptor, until, let's say, Gian Lorenzo Bernini. Because if you don't know those people, I'm not sure you can be a good photographer. Robert Mapplethorpe. Anybody know Robert Mapplethorpe?
Yes.
Thank you. So, why do you think Robert Mapplethorpe was influenced by for the composition of these wonderful black bodies? He's from there, that's for sure. He was completely a lover of Caravaggio, but he has studied Caravaggio, and Andy Warhol has studied those people. Then he made something different. He made Liz Taylor. I don't know. But you need to know the masters. So please, next time you look at the Vogue magazine, please take a look at the composition of the pictures. There are no mistakes. There is no mistake acceptable. Otherwise, they won't be there. Because there's a million people behind waiting at the queue, right? So it's, you know, history of art is not a chronological history. It's a history that goes through lines and through concepts. Okay? So we need to develop this attitude to think about concepts. And in every Renaissance painting, there's always 1, 2, 20, 50 details. The way the little Christ moves his finger means something. The feet means something different. There's a little bird, there's another meaning. You know? So it's very interesting. Here is the same thing, you know. Now it's glamorous because this is an image, but you know, I'm very fascinated about that. So, in Vogue magazine, photographers are amazing, and the composition has to be studied. Did I answer?
Yes.
Thank you.
Also, it's basic design.
And I think in the schools of architecture or design, whatever, we all had the lectures in the first grade. Basic design, the principles of basic design is color, harmony, balance, and everything. That's what we are told.
Actually, I also studied the history art. I mean, also the history of the architecture and art are shown in the university. And
All of them are bonded.
yes, but that was a different thing.
Any other? Please. I'm sure you want to make it next year. I am sure. Then you will go back home and you will not sleep. You will say, I couldn't ask them. for the rest of your life. You will be tortured.
No, we hope you come back. Not for
Ah,
this.
okay.
So they get the questions for the next visit for sure.
Or you can just name it.
And can I ask something?
Of course.
When we talk about the design and fashion, we always talk about Milano. It came in the first row. But what do you think about the other cities of Italy? They do something? Do they do something about like, how can I say?
Design, fashion, all of that.
Where are they in the row of the design in the Europe? How can I say?
Where would they be positioned in relative to European design, other cities?
The other cities of Italy or
Of Italy.
Of Italy. Well, I mean, Italy is a very complicated network of companies. I mean, there are regions that are more specialized in some sectors and others in different sectors. But so in Veneto, my region, there's tremendous amount of little, medium industry, so-called piccole medie industrie, which is the skeleton of the business design of my country. So there's companies and industry everywhere, all right? There's district for the leather, the district for the ceramic tile, the district for the chair, but district for the chair there are several, 2, 3, 4, you know? And then there's a chair producer which is individual somewhere where nobody is producing chairs. That's because he changed his mind, you know, he wants to do that. But what made Milano so special is because they were intelligent enough to generate a hub for all the Italian companies. And after the Italian company, the international company, they want to go there and display their goods and have a good impact. But for a non-Italian company going to Milano, actually for a Turkish company going to Milano, it's interesting because it generates a problem, a big problem, you know, because they're going to ask themselves, how am I going to present myself there? I cannot go, you know, for fun, because otherwise they will kill me. The public will say, what is this? Turkish. You know. So it's a problem. You need to investigate into your identity. What am I going to say? What am I going to do? Which product am I going to bring there? So Milano always had this capability. Milano is a very hard city. There's no space for you know, for storage. You know, either you do or either you out. You know, if you want to be in, you have to play hard, as they say. So Milano has this capability to make interacting people. Anybody is welcome there, as far as they work hard and do things in a certain type of way. There is, how can I say, a Milano approach, that's for sure, which is different from Paris approach. I would say French approach is probably more environmental, more aesthetically oriented somehow. Otherwise, the Milano approach is very industrial. But when I say industrial, I'm talking about this. This, to me, is industry. It's not nothing different, you know? I'm not talking about, I don't want to show machineries to talk about the industry. But this image is very essential. It tells everything which is needed. Exactly, again, please remember this, exactly like Piero della Francesca painting, La Flagellazione, first painting ever with a proper, exact representation of perspective. No mistake, is pure mathematics, with some art as well.
Thank you.
No problem.
We can still carry on inside, have a glass of wine instead
That
of
would be
coffee.
great. Turkish one, I love.